get high, man?
That stimulates your mind.
Get up, Chucky! What have we got here? A fucking comedian.
Rojankin.
All right, yeah, you settling. Okay, I'm starting recording. All right, hey. All right, yeah, move wherever you need to move. How are you doing, man? What's up? Welcome to the Rojan Kidcast. It's me, Rojan Kid. This is my guest today, Shaun Keren. He is a comedian that I met here on the streets of Los Angeles. He's also a New Yorker, right? You're from New York originally.
Yes.
We talked about that a lot. Oh, you know what you should do is try to like point. See how the window's behind you?
Yeah. Oh,
You get the light.
It's too bright.
Yeah. Like point the light toward your face. Yeah. That's way better because it makes a silhouette. Makes you silhouetted.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's better. Way better.
Silhouette of a man. Cool. Like this. Is this better? I'm more
Yeah, that's
comfortable.
way better. Yeah. Be
Nice, cool.
comfortable. Be comfortable. Yeah. And that's way better. Yeah, because the
Cool.
light.
Tree over here.
Did you paint that?
Nah.
Yeah.
And the pictures are all like, like their standard stockpile Walgreens CVS family pictures. It's not my family. There's pictures of a family, but
They're not your pictures.
No.
I mean, they're not your family. You
no.
just have like stock photos.
Much.
Wait, that's like that Dave Chappelle joke.
Yeah.
You hung up pictures. They hung up pictures of these black people in his house. Hung up pictures of his family.
This guy's pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
he broke in this house.
They hung up all these, except this time, yeah, those are your fake. That's your fake family. How you doing, man? How's it been going? I mean, now it's I call it the curfew. Now we're in the quarantine curfew now.
That's what it is. You made it bite-sized, but that's what it is, man.
Yeah, it's a curfew, man.
It is, man. I'm living my best life.
Yeah.
No, I'm just trying to be compassionate without being emotional.
Sure. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of there is real stuff going on. Obviously, what happened, but in the reaction to that, there's so many different things that like people are trying to steer you in the wrong direction, and in every way. People are trying to control or change the narrative or what happened, the truth. They're trying to hijack or not hide.
Yep.
It's crazy, man.
It's a real info war, like Alex.
Oh,
Shaun.
yeah,
I don't know if you want.
Honestly, yeah, dude. Honestly, I'm a big fan of Alex Shaun. Honestly,
I mean, it's like the crazy thing is like he comes off. You could take little snippets of him and be like, "Look at this insane man," and he is like, he is. But at the same time, it's like he's been right about a lot of crazy shit that like nobody gives him.
Yeah,
credit, you know what I mean?
yeah. I tell people all the time, like, the way that you have to be like brilliant. The way that he can break down like the military-industrial complex and like their playbook, that's brilliant. But then sometimes he kind of ruins it by talking about like, alien blood. You know what I'm saying?
The
like,
interdimensional vampire. Well, he's going too deep and
then
too
it's like,
emotional.
oh my God, you were doing so good, dude. You were like so good. It's
Right.
like somebody's on there and they're killing the set, and then they just.
And then
Well, no, just go back.
Yeah, they
just
go
go
off.
back, bail out, and go back to what you were doing before, man.
But that's the actual thing that I appreciate about the guy is that he's just a man. He's just a man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just a guy. He's very passionate. And yeah, he's right about a lot of stuff. Other times he's just off in left field, like, what the fuck? You're like, but it's fine, but that's just what it is. So he's just as susceptible as any of us because we're all human beings, right? Of being swayed by our emotions and letting the narrative that we want. See, that's the thing. I think as human beings, we can't help but to craft a story, and the story that we want is most comforting, And so we'll continually. Well, I saw the message you sent me about how which I think is really funny and agreed with because when Trump said when the looting starts, the shooting starts. You know what I mean? And then the news was like, oh my God, he's going to shoot everyone. And then they were like, this is what George Wallace said in Alabama. And that's what Trump was referencing, and all this stuff.
Like he was signaling secret white terror cells. Yeah.
Well, that's what they're saying. That's what they want. That's what they want you to believe. That's what they've been saying since the beginning. See, that's the whole thing. It feeds into the narrative that
because they want everybody,
Nazi.
just like how they lie bricks, pallets of bricks.
Right.
In the open, they're just suggesting it. Oh, look at this.
But who even knows if they're real? I don't know if I've just seen those signs, but I haven't seen any real pallets. I was out there on Saturday. I didn't see anything. You know what I mean? So it's who knows if anything's real. You know what I mean? Because it's just like an info war. It really is. It really is. So what is interesting is that
I fell victim to one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I fell victim very initially, and I had to check myself. And it's good that I did, because then I realized that it was wrong. But I did that before I realized it. Was the guy Officer Chauvin?
Mm-hmm.
He's a scumbag. He should be, not like a scumbag. We're all bad, but whatever. He should be prosecuted, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw like an older. Apparently, again, I was looking online, and I saw. I don't know if you've seen it, but
Yeah,
like
the
a
Make
picture
America
of
White
Nick
Again.
White.
Make
But that's
America
not
White
even.
Again.
That's not even him.
Yeah, it's not even him.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How many people got amped up and were like,
course. And what's hilarious is like your own racism made you go like, it's the same guy, obviously, and of course that's it.
Yeah, this dude's got some girl in him, man.
Right, and it's not the same guy. So it's like everybody use how easily we're all trolled. That's how easily you can be trolled, especially if you take advantage of an emotional moment. You can get everybody to do one thing. And well, that's also why I think it's very irresponsible of the news, actually. It's dangerous. They're playing with fire. Essentially, they're playing with fire because they're whipping everybody up into thinking that there's a secret white supremacist conspiracy going on. You know what I'm saying? Like that every time Trump says something, it's actually some kind of dog whistle, some kind of signal to the underground movement or whatever. But it's just like, no, it's not. It's just the same that it's always been. It's almost like acting like this shit didn't exist before him, which is, you know what I mean? Like this shit has always been around.
Like he is the creator.
Yeah, like he made it up. That's what they're. No, a lot of I've seen like leadership. News people do this, and I can see how this is fucking dangerous, man. You're playing with hundreds of years old emotions and politicizing it and making it about this election.
It's hard though, because it's like you want to have a heart, you want to not be a robot, but then it's like but at the same time you don't want to be manipulated. I mean, for me, I don't want to be manipulated.
Who does? Yeah, that's the thing. Well, look at the thing everybody did with the black squares, right? I mean, like everybody posted those black squares, and then it turned out they were like, no, this is actually disinformation campaign that they started to black out information.
Well, that's actually brilliant. I mean, it's not good.
No. Yeah, no. I get. Yeah. I mean, if it is, but at this point, you don't even know what it is. And then I heard it was like, oh no, it's these music labels that started it or whatever. And it's like at the end, it's like this whole thing's already been co-opted by corporations, by people.
And the sad part is, I mean, I get it that people are out of work. People are poor. People because they're out of work. We're short on money and rent. But at the same time, I don't know, man. I saw pictures of like people breaking into like building, and I saw the thing on Instagram. Somebody breaking into like Patagonia and walking out with surfboards. I'm like, yo, come on, man. That's not essential. Well, someone's starving and you need food.
Well, that's the thing. It isn't. None of it's logical. See, because you have an angry group of people who's been whipped up by both the president and the media, right? Everybody's just been whipping everything up. Yeah. Then we've all been indoors for like 3 months. We basically all been locked up, man. Right? Like,
and they were on edge anyway, because whether it is or I had Corona.
Oh, you did?
It's legit. It's not something fallacy. Yeah. I've had it because I've had flu before.
Right.
And I have never had trouble breathing like that. My body. I'm not, my body had never experienced something like that. And I'm like, I have it.
Right.
But
did you get tested?
All those factors. Oh no, but I just.
But you think you did?
Myself. I quarantined myself, but I knew I had it. I didn't need to go to anywhere.
Right.
I was paranoid that they were going to try to give me a vaccine. That's why I didn't want to.
Oh, gotcha.
That's just me being a.
Right. But that's the other thing is like you don't know. You don't know, but it's possible. It's possible everybody had it at some point. You know what I mean? It's possible it ran through the population before they even knew about it. It's totally possible, Like,
man.
Yeah, so that's what's crazy, dude. Well, I'm glad you're okay.
Thank you.
I was sick too. I was sick back in November, except it wasn't a respiratory thing. It was I had a real bad like stomach, because I heard like Corona, it makes you also like fucking get diarrhea and shit, and like you really it hits your stomach like a stomach flu. I had a really bad stomach flu, like a really bad like.
Yeah, I heard that it affects different people completely differently.
Yeah, and this was late November, early December. I had this weird. Like I thought I was food poisoned, and it was like 3 days of being like weak and
that's
like, you know what I mean?
That's how long I was affected for around.
Yeah. So I think some people it affects like that, and then you're fine, and then other people will get really fucked up. But that's also like most diseases. You know what I mean? That's actually like most diseases, you get fucked up for a little or you get fucked up a lot. Like
Yeah, I kind of get it, man, because it's like, yo, if you're old, if you live with an old person, it might be a wrap. If you live with a disabled person because their immune systems are messed up, yo, it might be. So I get it. I mean,
no, I get it, but at the same time, you have to like keep looking at the data and making sure that you're doing the right thing, not just being like, okay, we did the right thing, and then nobody question it now. Nobody's allowed to question it.
I was gonna say, well, yo, what do you think that is going to happen now with COVID because everybody's out, right? Everybody's bugging out, everybody's protesting, everybody's out now. They're not inside and really.
Well, I think I think now in the next, well, this is what I said a month ago when those protesters, see, everybody laughed at those protesters, the white people who went out, who were like protesting for their businesses, right?
Yeah.
They're all laughing at them. But my whole point was like, all right, well, first of all, I'm always like, protest is like First Amendment. So if I'm a comedian and I have to stand by the First Amendment, I have to also stand by protest. No matter how dumb I think it is, or you know what I mean? Even if it's fucking Nazis, honestly, even if it's Nazis.
Because then it's like you opened up Pandora's box. It's so subjective.
It has to be all or nothing.
Yeah.
Once I say that's not allowed, then somebody's gonna come around and say I'm not allowed, right? So you have to So I feel like that's a principled thing we have to like stick by, or else it's done, or else comedy's done, everything's done, right?
Yeah,
so whatever.
Much. On
the one hand,
press will be also.
Yeah. So on the one hand, I was like, all right, they have the right to do that. But on the other hand, I'm like, all right, well, why don't we watch these guys and see in 2 weeks if they're dead or sick?
Like test dummies.
Yeah, like fucking canaries in a coal mine. Like, let's just fucking watch them. And you know what? Yeah. 2 weeks later, there was nothing. A lot of those places, there were like things were going down. There was no, you know what I mean? There was no. So then there was more protests. Another round of protests. I was like,
I know in Michigan, right? There was a big thing in Michigan.
I was like, let's watch these motherfuckers. Same thing. Then by the time this happened, I went out there and I was like, all right, fuck it. Let's watch what happens, because in 2 weeks, if there isn't a huge spike and people aren't dying or whatever, like it's all going to break apart. It's already breaking apart because the news can't shame. See, they can shame the people on the right because it's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay to shame them. But now they're in a conundrum because the left is associated with Black Lives Matter, right? So they can't criticize them.
A lot of the right is like neo anyway. Like the neo left and the neo
they're the same.
The neo libs are pretty much so identical.
I mean, there's no real neoliberal it's a conflation, because it's like there's no neoliberal is an economic policy. It's not even a political stance. You know what I'm saying? Like you can be neocon and neolib. Like neolib is just the people who signed NAFTA and wanted all the jobs to go become globalized, so that this whole idea of a globalized economy, or whatever, which is part of why we got fucked up from this disease, right? Like
and I get why people. I don't know, dude. It's kind of messed up that China. Yo, Jared was saying how within the age, I didn't know this, but I said within the Asian community, all the Asians hate China.
Yeah, man. You know why? Because like I'm just talking. Well, first of all, let's just talk geopolitically. Like politically, China is surrounded by all these countries, right? Different countries. Yeah. And for thousands of years, they've just been like dicks to them. And so they like have no, it's not like America where we're kind of.
What do they do? Like take a lot of their money, like take their women?
Well, think about it. Like Chinese, the thing about Chinese is that there's a lot of them, overpopulation. So they just keep moving and moving and moving.
So they colonize whatever. Well, whatever.
Well, I mean, they just keep coming because there's so many. They just keep coming and coming. They's like, it's pretty much overfished all their shit, and they're starting to start fishing in other people's waters now.
Damn.
So this is why people, they say they hate the Chinese. So that's one reason. The other reason is the Chinese tourists are sort of, if you can leave China and go somewhere, you're pretty much rich, because poor people can't do shit. So like so it's basically a bunch of rich people touring around, going on vacation, and they'll just like, they don't give a fuck about anything. They just fucking just break.
That's how people say about Americans. That's how Americans.
No, but it's worse. Right? Imagine worse. Imagine where they're like spitting and like their babies pissing shit everywhere, and they fucking that's like a real thing where like you like in Thailand and in Korea they have to put up signs in Chinese being like, please don't let your kids shit.
What? Really?
Yeah. So that's why there's that. And the Philippines, forget about Philippines. The Philippines have The Philippines is not like a single country. It's like 2,000 islands. You know what I'm saying? The Philippines is just like a shitload of islands. So the Chinese have been basically picking off one island here, one island there, because they have a navy and nobody else does. The U.S. has a navy.
Slowly taking it over.
Yeah, they're just like, yeah, there's nothing anybody could. No one's gonna scrap over some random island in the middle of the Philippines. You know what I'm saying? No one's like.
No, but those little drops add up to be a.
Exactly. So that's why the Philippines doesn't like them, because they're like, over time, you guys are gonna take all our shit. You know what I mean? So that's really
crazy.
The problem. So that's really the reason why people
I heard
don't
that.
like China. Yeah.
You know what? I heard that. I think we should all get along, but at the same time, I think that they didn't only lie to the WHO, they also lied to us, because I heard from Americans, because I heard from somebody that in China, a Chinese person, that in China they don't even eat Chinese food. That this Chinese food isn't even Chinese food.
Yeah, Chinese food in America is way better than Chinese. I've only been in China once, and I was in Shanghai. But the number one thing I would say is that like the best food was not Chinese food. It was Uyghur food. Actually, you know about the Uyghurs? You know who the Uyghurs are? So the Uyghurs they're an ethnic.
I know
not Uyghurs. they're rounding up all the Uyghurs in China, putting them in camps, man. It's fucking crazy.
They keep on watching 8 Mile.
Yeah, and they're forming sick rap circles. Yeah, I mean, those motherfuckers are spitting, but no, the Uyghurs are they're like a not Turkish, but it's called East Turkmenistan, or it was, but like, so you know how like the whole thing with Tibet, the whole thing with Tibet, right? How China took over Tibet, and now they're like, there's no such thing as Tibet. It's all part of China now. There's that whole thing, right? So directly north of Tibet is something called Xinjiang. It's a province called Xinjiang, which was originally called East Turkmenistan, and is basically the same thing as Tibet, where the Chinese have taken it over. And the people there are called Uyghurs. But the thing about them is that they're Muslim. So because they're Muslim, they're not cool like the Dalai Lama and stuff. You know what I'm saying? They're not like Tibetan monks and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So nobody really cares about nobody really cares about the Uyghurs.
Oh no, dude.
And the thing is, the Uyghurs are like,
they get neglected. People don't care. No, people don't really talk.
Nobody even knows about him. Like, you don't know about him, right?
Yeah,
nobody knows about him. Nobody. And then the reason I know about him is because I went to this restaurant, and that's where I bought hash off this dude.
What?
So it was dope. So now this is my connect. Was this fucking Uyghur musician guy? But started hanging out, and like he could speak some Mandarin, and my friend would translate. It was hard to talk because.
He was a musician. What did he play?
I don't know what the fucking thing is called, but it's like a Middle Eastern instrument. You see, it's kind of like a banjo-looking thing. I forgot what it's called, but like, but he was good, and he was a cool dude. But the thing is, they're so racist against the Uyghurs in China, like they can't hang out anywhere else but in a restaurant. Like they can only hang out with each other. They can't take cabs. They can't do shit. And there's no like laws.
They can't take cabs?
No, not really. The only way this guy could take a cab was because like we were with him. And so but the cab driver started yelling at us. He's like, "Why'd you bring this dude in here?" And all this stuff.
That's mad. It's so racist, dude.
Yeah, super racist, man. They're super racist.
What the hell?
Yeah. So that whole thing of like, the racism is everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like our racism is very,
dude.
It's different. But they straight up, the thing about them is because they're Muslims, they labeled them as terrorists.
Oh no! Come on, that's low.
That's what I'm saying.
That's so low, dude. Yo,
that's what I'm saying. And the U.S. is cool with it because that's a part of our game, right? That's our game is to label people terrorists.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay,
terrorism abroad. Yeah.
Right. So anyways. Nobody's free of guilt.
Man.
But the thing about China though, the thing that who they really fuck over is their own people the most. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's really the government.
They're kind of communist, kind of.
Well, I'm just talking about because they have just one party. Imagine if we only had one party. Yo.
I mean, honestly, it's coming to the point where it is one.
I mean, we kind of do.
I mean, I'm no political scientist, but I feel like we should have capitalism in the sense of politics. Not economy, like you said, neolibs are like economy. I think that we should have capitalism. That's what I said. We should have We should be capitalists in our political parties.
Well, so like parliamentary
competition.
System.
No offense, if Joe Biden is the lead, if Joe Biden is the best representative of anybody's party, that's
It's sad. I mean, nobody's addressing this issue.
No, like we
Nobody's
should have we should have competition. We should have a Green
Right.
Party. We should have a couple of more parties, dude. We should have like 7, 8.
Well, that's the other thing is, a lot of people say that what we have now isn't really capitalism. It's crony capitalism. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a real.
I agree.
You know what I mean? It's not really.
A bunch of it's a bunch of elitists like, oh you wanna start a business? Oh, you have to have this machine that only you're super well. You need this $30 million machine.
Sure.
You need the super expensive machine that you can only get if you're really
Yeah, well, that's what happened. So those machines when you go to the airport that you have to do this and they scan you.
Yeah.
You know who was the CEO of the company that made that shit? John Ashcroft, who was the Homeland Security dude during 9/11. So you know what I mean? So it's just a coincidence.
They're not even being. Wow, that's so.
They're just not even hiding it. I mean, just like Dick Cheney was the CEO.
Halliburton.
They're not hiding it. That's what I'm saying.
Worst, bro.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
That's why it's all of this shit of like Trump being so bad. Like, I don't buy all of it. I get it. He's not great, but I also know that like we've been pillaging the world forever. You know what I'm saying? Like we've been a world empire.
But I kind of like, I kind of like his, I mean, I just look at what he's done. I think that he, like internationally, I think that, we haven't been to war, which is great,
he didn't start. Look, the thing is, he's just as guilty now of committing war crimes. Like you know what I mean? Like you could get him on war crimes because every president is guilty of war crimes. You know what I mean? And the thing is, dude, if you ever want to know first of all, we're at war in 7 countries. That's the thing. Nobody talks about. Just like everybody knows about Iraq and Afghanistan. Everybody knows about that, but we actually we have air power in at least 5 other countries, like publicly. Who knows secretly? Yeah, man. We're in fucking, okay, so it's like Syria, Pakistan, Somalia, Libya, Yemen. You know what I mean? Like there's fucking 7 places, dude. So, and right now Yemen is actually the worst one because Yemen is actually a war going on with the Saudis.
Yeah, there's an upheaval right here, yeah.
Yeah. And that's just been going on since like 2014, right? So it was under Obama's watch it started. But the thing is, it's straight up genocide. I mean, they're just straight up murdering civilians and they're using our weapons to do it. And we drone them all the time. Like we've been doing this for a while, and under Trump actually sold Saudis the weapons. Like,
I didn't like that.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
Trump's bitter. That's weird, man.
But notice they'll never get him on that. They'll never accuse him of anything of that. You know why? Because both sides are in on it. You know what I mean? Both sides are. That's why
it's really the military-industrial complex. So
and that's why that like whole Russia thing I didn't buy. I didn't buy the Russia thing. I didn't buy the impeachment thing. I didn't buy any of it because it's obvious they're all working toward both like Pelosi.
They get people riled up in the wrong way. They
get riled up. They make them. It's misdirection.
Like,
it's just misdirection, like a comic.
Yeah.
You just you talk about this and you hit him with a punch. Like that's all it is. Yeah. So that's that shit with her tearing the thing. It's all.
Oh, it's like a drama.
It's a drama. Exactly. It's fucking drama. And then what's crazy is you see the media doing it too. So they're all doing it. So then, I don't know. I just feel like.
What do you think about censorship? You think of YouTube? What do you think about that? Are you a fan of that?
No, because same reason I am saying that I have to be for protests, even if they're Nazis, even if I don't agree, because you censor one thing, you have to censor everything. You start censoring everything.
You're opening a Pandora's box.
Right. That's why even censoring Trump, I'm like, you can't. If you censor the president, that means you'll censor anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why that whole Russiagate thing, the real important thing to think about is like, they can just spy on the president-elect. They'll spy on anybody. You know what I mean? They just basically violated his constitutional rights if you look at it. And if they do that to him, why wouldn't they do it to you or me?
Oh, easily, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They did it to the guy who's going to be the next president.
Oh, hell yeah. They want to do their research. They needed to know. Well, I don't know, dude. I think that he's not as much of a puppet, though. I think that he actually is like autonomous to a certain extent.
Yeah, I think he's enough so where that's why they don't like him. But honestly, I think the real reason why they don't like him is because he doesn't act the way you're supposed to act.
Yeah, he's not.
That's really all it is. I think everything else,
That's like white trash.
yeah, policy wise and all of that, he's actually done
Yeah.
exactly what the military industrial complex wants. You know, because he's basically, if you look at what he's done with Russia, he's actually made things worse militarily because we pulled out all these nuclear treaties, we expanded NATO even more, we gave the Ukrainians weapons, which Obama wouldn't even do. Obama would, you know, the whole thing we were impeaching him over, this whole like idea of withholding weapons or whatever, Obama wouldn't even do it because the guys who were fighting against the Russians are actual Nazis. They're actual neo-Nazis who are fighting the Russians in Ukraine. So that's who we armed, and that's who we like helped lead this revolution and shit, like under Obama. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so I'm saying the very same people who are accusing the right of being Nazis helped extreme right-wing Nazis themselves in the Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? And the fact, what they're trying to impeach Trump over is the fact that he threatened to not give him weapons, even though he did. So it doesn't even make sense. The whole thing doesn't even make sense. He didn't even do the thing that they said he said. It's just because they said that he was thinking about it.
Yo, what the hell, man?
That's why it's all convoluted. That's why none of it is bullshit. That's why if you just got him on war crimes for Yemen, that's clear and cut. It's like, this is a crime against humanity.
Yeah, but a lot of people have done stuff like that.
That's what I'm saying. That's why they won't do it. That's why it's bullshit.
Yeah.
They won't. That's why there's no such thing as a moral that only works for some people and doesn't work for others. You know what I mean? That's just corruption. Then there's no morality. You can't claim you're right if you're just like, it's only when they do it.
Yo, honestly, I think we should just really kind of withdraw from the Middle East. We should do all that, man, and just let's rebuild home. Let's use those dollars for like infrastructure.
Yeah, man. I mean, they put these numbers out and they don't ever talk about $6 trillion on that shit so far. You know how much money that is? That's so much money.
Like police too. Let's like demilitarize them.
Yeah, demilitarize all that shit. Demilitarize in general. But that's the thing, is that like it's just a hard sell to.
Dude, in New York, bro. I mean, you know, you lived in New York. People like in LA, there's so many cops. No, there's not. Not compared to New York. In New York, there's like a million cops.
Yeah, New York has a shitload. Well, they have to because of so many people, right? Because of so many people there. But at the same time, New York cops are different. Like, because New York cops are kind of like a thuggish gang. It's kind of like a mafioso type. You know what I mean? It's kind of a mafia old school thing. But LA cops are militarized since the 50s. They've been militarized for a long time. You know what I'm saying? They came up with SWAT. LA, you know what I mean? LA, it's so like so.
On the other end, dude. On the other end, I hate to say this, but like. Also gangs, dude, it's like dangerous. Like if I go to my
that's what I'm saying
park right here and they don't know me, bro, I'll beat the lights. That's why I go to USC.
Okay.
When I go run, I go to USC.
You go to USC? Well, you got to. Well, that's the thing. It's a real thing, right? And the thing about people in California is that they're armed. There's a lot of guns. There's way more guns out here than in New York, man. There's way more.
Yeah.
That's one thing you got to remember. It's the West. It's still the West. In New York, you got to register a shotgun even.
Yeah, it's hard.
Like, it's not easy. Yeah, it's expensive. Like if you know, it's not easy to get in. But here, they're cheap. They're cheap and they're ever plentiful. Yeah. So I mean, you know, so that's the whole thing. But that is. But on the other hand, sometimes I think about like, man, with it when the police state militarizes and all that shit, there's like, what other check is there besides the Second Amendment? You know what I mean? That's really the only thing the population has left.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is. No,
it's crazy, really is. Right? It's the craziest thing, but it's like that. Otherwise, then you're just like, you just do what they say. You just have to do what they say, right, all the time.
To watch, it's crazy to see people like in the camo, like just chilling. Like, damn, bro,
the National Guard and shit.
You're watching, yeah.
But you know what?
I'm like, yo, honestly, but it's not like the protesters. Most of the protesters are peaceful. It's these weirdos.
Yep.
That are bashing up things that are like these random. I
think they're cops, man.
Yeah, man.
I think they're cops. I think what they do is they smash something and they get everybody all riled up and looting, so they have an excuse.
I've seen. I don't know about all of them, but I've seen the one in Minneapolis.
Yeah. That's the guy who started the original one. Yeah, that's the original guy. Yeah. And so I don't doubt it, man. But I think they're not like. I don't think it's like CIA or anything. I think it's just cops. Just makes the most sense, right? You just do that's why that thing I told you about the fire. I think the cops set that fire so that they have an excuse
just
to
kind of
move
maybe redirect or rile them up. Oh, because it gives them more like.
Well, they have no use. They have no reason to use violence unless there's some violence, so they make it themselves.
So they started, yeah.
It's just like we did with the war on terror. We actually made more terrorists
Right.
than there were in the first place, so that we could continue the war on terror.
What was the operation in Cuba that they proposed to? I think it was John F. Kennedy.
Yeah, I think it was Mockingbird, where they're like, let's down a airliner and blame it on the
Yeah,
Cubans.
yeah. Let's so we can
yeah,
we can
false
go
flag.
in.
False flag is that Gulf of Tonkin. Gulf of Tonkin. There was that's how we got into the Vietnam War. They said they were fired on in the Gulf of Tonkin, and then when they came out, they found out it was a lie. It was just they just made it up, and then the news like fell for it. You know,
Dude, most war, like I know I sound such a hippie, but most wars are like, I respect the hell out of all the soldiers. How
Yeah.
you know that's a different. I respect them. But I'm saying most wars are like useless. Like what's the real? Because they're like, what's the purpose of it?
what is the purpose?
Even like World War II, World War I, they were funded by bankers. It was just manipulation by
Right.
the bankers.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
elite.
I mean, it's all there. I mean, that's the thing is that they use morality to get people to fight, but the people in charge have other
But it's really that.
non-emotional.
It's really that. It's
yeah.
really the people up top.
And honestly, dude, I just read this fucking wild thing, man. Check this out. Oh, you dig this? This guy, what's his name? His name is George Horn, I think. He's a scholar. He's a black man. He's fucking a historian, and he wrote about how like this is fucking crazy, dude. All right, He wrote about how like the real revolution, the American Revolution, was actually a pro-slavery movement because at the time in the 1700s, like 1720 something like it, England made a declaration there that they were heading toward abolition of slavery, and and there was a fear that would include the colonies. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that
And the
built the
amount-
whole U.S.
The amount of money that they were getting from slaves, they were like, dude, we can't. All the founding
That's that
fathers
free
had
labor.
slaves.
That's that
All the
free
founding
labor.
fathers had them, right? That's
That's
whole
that free
George
labor.
Carlin joke. Yeah, all that. Dude, the guy, the scholar, he writes their profits every year were like 16,000%. It's like whatever they invested in using slave labor, the return they got was 16,000. So there was no way they were going to give that up.
No.
You know what I mean? And so that the original underpinnings of the Revolutionary War was that all the freedom and all that stuff is actually just propaganda. Just propaganda to get poor white people to fight for these rich white slave owners. But really, a big part of it was to maintain slavery, is to make sure that they could keep it, right? And because of that, because they punted that issue, and because of the inherent contradiction of slave owners wanting to be free, we ended up having a civil war, right? We have all these race issues and all of this.
Crazy.
It all stretches back to rich people, essentially. It's all economic. It's all economic.
Yeah, I know. That's
You know, so
crazy.
I mean, who knows if it's 100% true, but it completely makes sense because it was big
I'll
business.
figure it out.
That's the whole thing, is that shit, colonialism was big business, right? I mean, it's a gigantic business all over the world, worldwide. Yeah.
When you get that free labor or that real cheap labor.
Yeah. And you just start extracting, just taking stuff, just start taking it.
Yeah.
Just take it.
Nice, the gold. Yeah.
Yeah, just start taking it. Yeah. You know, just looting and pillaging.
Yeah,
right?
for real. Yeah, I know.
I mean,
then
you know,
I saw like memes that I'm like, you know what, I kind of have a point. I know that it's not directly them.
No.
The owners
I mean,
of Patagonia, but
right.
still, I know that.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
those are also intellectual ideas, right? Like if you own that store, who the fuck knows who you are or what? Your life is ruined. You know what I mean? Like you could be for Black Lives. You could have had your own relative killed by a cop, but it doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah.
They burned your store down. You know, nobody cares.
To the
It has
ground.
nothing to do with it. Nothing to do. So all that stuff, I feel like I do get it, but there's still like on the ground. You
But
have to understand.
honestly, but most of the people want change for the police brutality, and they acknowledge it, and it's good that because it's the media and all these groups, it's kind of like divide and conquer. I think that they're like,
Of course.
not even that. Antifa is a real thing, but like these white supremacists, I think that they're not even that many. It's just that they hype it up, so they get the stoking of, or even like racist cops. Now, I know cops are assholes, yes, but even like not all of them either. But I'm saying, obviously, you have people. You're gonna be nice and not nice. What's his name? Officer Chauvin, the guy who killed George Floyd. This was a lady that came out saying that he already knew George Floyd.
It could have been a personal thing.
I don't think it was. I don't think it was a Make America White Again, which was fake.
Right.
I think it was just office politics. Oh, I hate this guy. I see him all around. One time, I'm just making this up, and I'm just trying, like that's how it is. Oh, he said something to my wife. He said something I don't like, or he's a scumbag. This guy, he's always.
Oh, dude, what if the dude
He's
was
always
sleeping?
talking about this and that, and
what if the dude was sleeping with his wife?
Yeah, or he got that BBC. I can't please my woman. I know he does.
No, I'm just saying it could have been nothing to do with race and more personal.
Yeah.
A lot of times that's the thing why I'm not a person who doesn't believe in racism and systemic racism or any of the history of it. I get it, but at the same time, I can't go along with hate crime designations. You know what I mean? Because hate crime to me is one step away from thought crime, because that's what you're essentially criminalizing, is what's in someone's head. You know what I mean? And I think that's very dangerous. It's a super dangerous road to go down. Because who starts deciding what the right and wrong thoughts are? You know what I'm saying? So like right now, racism everyone can get behind, but then what's next? You know what I mean? Like, what's that? It just, and then they start policing what you think. They start policing what you know what I mean? Like, and it's censorship. That's essentially it's no different.
It's big thing in censorship.
Yeah, man. So that's why I'm like, that's why that they use that shit, that Make America White Again and all that stuff, which wasn't even
because it got me too. It gets
your lizard brain.
Yeah. No, but it did. Honestly, it didn't make me. I want to kill him, but it was like this guy is a real
but that's all
low life. You know what, man? He did.
But just imagine now multiply that by.
He probably everybody has demons. He's probably he's troubled. Yeah, probably. In order to do that, I'm not saying that he's the perfect guy. He's obviously gonna need help, and he's obviously gonna go away. I mean, as he should, because you can't just be going around beating up. And killing somebody like that.
Right, but that's like what happens then when we have like pre-crime shit and we go like, this guy we think will do this. Yeah, exactly. Where do you start arresting people you think will do it in the future to stop them? You know what I mean? Like, what's the difference at that point if you're just looking at their head? Like, what if somebody somebody has a sick fantasy? Like maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe we got to stop that. Like.
Yeah, but you should. Yeah, there's a thing between actually doing it and thinking about it. You can't.
Exactly. That's why that has to be a line, right? That's why the action has to be the action, but the thoughts have to remain thoughts. Like, I think once you start criminalizing the thoughts, that's like it's over.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. That's super crazy.
But you have to. Most people don't think that way, man. Most people think that you should criminalize. Like, if you told people, most people like, hey, let's round up all the racists and put them in camps. You know what I'm saying? And re-educate them, like fucking just round them all up. Let's root them all out. Rat on your families. Rat on them. Let's take it up.
Oh no, but that's kind of no, man. That's
gonna happen. We're like this close from it happening. You know what I'm saying? As close as we are to like the right-wing fascist takeover everybody's afraid of, we're this close to this sort of like left-wing kind of like.
You can't force anybody to do anything. You can only just show them the way and educate them and let it be.
Right.
Like that's how I was. Like, I always say whenever somebody told me to do something, I would do the opposite. Right. But if you would just let me know the facts and just let me go, eventually I'll get it.
Right. That's all most people want. Most people want freedom, right? Most people don't want to be told what to do. They want to be. That's why that's why I think that's what the news is doing, is manipulating, because they're not necessarily telling people what to do. They're tricking. It's trickery. You know what I'm saying? It's trickery. But the crazy thing is that fucking video of him dying was spammed everywhere, dude. It was everywhere. I couldn't get rid of it. It was like everywhere, man. Everybody saw it. So of course people were fucking going nuts. And the crazy thing is, it's the same.
It was so, dude. It's so. I honestly.
It's a snuff film, dude.
Watch the whole thing, bro.
No, man. It's a person dying. It's a person dying on camera.
And I'm like, all right, I get the point.
Yeah. And the whole thing is that like they were like all about banning misinformation about the pandemic, right? They're all about banning all of that, but they fucking let that thing go. Everybody saw that, So there's just like, what's the point of the censorship if you're not right? Are you supposed to be protecting us or not? You're just letting us watch this murder.
Or those 8-year-olds, or the 8-year-olds,
or whatever. Yeah, little kids watching.
I'm saying like the 8-year-old scrolling on Instagram and she sees it.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, if you're truly trying to protect us, then what about? So that's why I don't just believe any of that stuff. I don't think, they don't. The companies and stuff, they are like, there's no emotions. They just want profit, and whatever gets us riled up to click
So
stuff.
that's what I really think so too. And I don't even think that they even hate. I don't even think, honestly, it's like a sick. I don't even think the press loves Donald Trump because
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
and also all the media because he gives them headlines because he says
Exactly.
shocking things. So it is ultimate clickbait. I can't remember a president being like that.
Oh yeah, I mean they make tons of money off of him. Are you kidding? The amount of money they've all
Bill
written
Maher.
books.
Bill
Yeah.
Maher's whole thing is Donald Trump.
Everybody, Stephen Colbert, everybody,
Yeah, the
everybody,
whole
Jimmy
thing is-
Fallon, everybody. That's why it's
Trevor
not
Noah.
fun.
Trevor
That's why,
Noah.
like, you know, as comics, for me, it's not fun to make Trump jokes because everybody, it's so easy. Everybody will be like, yay, and like everybody's making them. So
Yeah.
it's not. Sometimes I just like to piss people off.
And his personality, I just feel like it's a persona.
That's what I was saying. It's like
that.
That's what people don't like about. That's the only thing they would rather. It's like Kurt Metzger has a joke about how like Trump makes everybody mad because he's the first lizard person who took his mask off. You know, and like yeah, it's like put it back on. They're like put it.
He is funny though. He is funny. Like I tell people, like he has good timing. He's funny.
That's what he's doing. He's workshopping jokes. You can see him work a crowd. You could see him do it. Like, you know,
he roasts.
Yeah, he roasts. Yeah, that's all he's doing. He's the only comic left on tour. He's the only.
It really is. He really is.
That's the only one left. He's gonna have huge crowds too. He's gonna be like, fuck it, fuck you guys. He's gonna be wild as long as nothing even crazier happens. You know, like some massive.
I don't
attack.
know, man. It keeps on getting crazier and crazier.
We might as well. Aliens might as well just come at this point.
Yo, did you see the? Did you see? I think it was 3 weeks ago. It was. I think I saw it on like CNN. The government had released videos of UFO, like legitimate UFOs.
Yep.
That was crazy.
Where they had to admit that it was real, and they're like, "We don't know what it is."
Yeah, what moves like that?
We don't know.
Yeah,
what it is.
What moves like that?
But you know what? It could be is experimental aircraft. You know, doesn't necessarily be. That could be the shit that they have that we don't know about. You know what I'm saying? That could be.
Like we built it ourselves.
Yeah, like we have that even the military doesn't know about. Like they don't, because there's things that they don't know about it from each other. And only one thing about UFOs is that like, why everybody has a fucking camera, like, and why is that the only evidence? You know what I mean? How is that? Because I admit that is a weird fucking aircraft. Whatever it is, it's moving crazy, and nobody moves like that, and it's obvious. But we still don't know what it is, right? We don't know that it's actually from space or whatever. We don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Fucking everybody, there's like billions of cameras out and still not a single bit of footage. You know what I mean? Not one, even ghosts.
Everybody
like ghosts.
has a camera now. Everybody has a camera now.
Yeah, no ghosts either. Why is there a single shot of a ghost? Give me a ghost I can on video. Everybody's got, you know what I mean? Like, so that's why a lot of that stuff I'm just like, I feel like there's evidence. That's why there's so much evidence of cops killing people.
Damn.
Right? Because they're slow. See, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. I could be like, yeah, this is real.
Yeah,
it happened, you know.
That's true.
But ghosts, I'm just not seeing. I just hear stories.
Well, my room, one of the ladies I work that I live with are 2 rooms down. She swears by ghosts. When I scare her, she's like, "Oh, you're a ghost."
Right.
Well, she swears by ghosts.
I don't know.
She burns the sage, and she said it keeps away the ghosts.
Keeps away the ghosts, and I mean, you can see how that's ancient thinking, right? Human beings have thought that for fucking hundreds of thousands of years. You know what I'm saying? Probably since cave days, we were all like ghosts.
I think it's like a metaphor, like it's your own projection or inside your own psyche.
Yeah.
Like demons. I use the word demons all the time.
Right.
But when I use it, it's metaphorical.
Right. Like some people think of literal demons, like actual.
Yeah. I don't think that like little like ooga boo, like there's like a red man. Yeah. There's a big red monster like that's strong. It's gonna beat me up.
Right. Or just like the idea of God being a white man with a beard in the sky, right? Like a literalization of everything. But did you know that there apparently, I don't know if this is true, but I read some shit about like how, like, I think as far back, or as early as like the 1700s even, or like the 1600s, the idea, you know how like we all have a internal narrative going on of like this voice in our head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Back then, they didn't think of that as you as your own self. They actually connected that to God and thought that was the voice in your head was actually like you know what I mean, like gods or God speaking to
Whoa,
you.
like
Yeah,
they're putting the voices in your head.
right, yeah, and that's what
That's
you're listening to, and
whoa.
that's what you're like. So because our actual ideas of individual psychology, that comes out of like I think the Enlightenment, and it comes out of like hundreds of years of developing
Yo,
through the 16, 17, 1800. You know what I mean? By the time we got to the 1900s, that was like solidified by like Freud and all these people who like all thought of the ego, and like, you know, there's like idea of like that voice in your head is you. You know what I mean? And that's like so back in the day, yeah, it wasn't. We didn't understand psychology. There was no psychology back then.
that's crazy. So they thought that your voice internally was God.
Yeah, that'd be the most. Otherwise, it's the devil, right? It better be God.
Crazy. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
yo, that's crazy.
Because then you'd be like, oh, I've got devils in my head. Devils. Yeah, because you didn't understand mental illness.
Oh, and then
right?
that was a wrap. If you got devils, you get killed.
Yeah, because that's what Jesus had to exorcise.
Oh, that's
right?
what they're trying to do now with the thought crime.
Exactly. Racism is a
It
demon.
was ancient thought crime.
Exactly.
The
Just
demons were ancient thought crime.
Yeah. I mean, you know, and it's no different. I mean, back then, you know, the greatest thought crime would be to side with the enemy, right?
Yeah.
Like to side with not our tribe, like them and not us.
Yeah.
With us or that. And if you were like, hey, maybe they have a point, they'd be like, kill.
Oh, it's that demon speaking with it. Damn, that's crazy.
Fucking nice, right? Yeah. I don't know. I think there's so much about human psychology that we like still don't know anything about. We're so new at this idea of like, we act like we do know, but I don't think, you know, we're still fucking trying to barely understanding what it means to have consciousness. Like, what does it mean?
Well, here's the thing, like with I've been very big in meditation and spirituality, and I think with Western culture, they completely disregard. This is going back to what you're saying with cultures. Western culture kind of haughtily, like cockily thinks that, oh, everything that's not us, oh, everything that's not Greek, anything, because that's where we're like a offspring of, our thought is an offspring of Greek thought. Anything that's not from them, oh, they're savages. That's just hodgepodge.
Right.
Oh, all the eastern of China, India, ancient India. Oh, that's just hodgepodge. They're savages, you know.
Right. And yeah, I mean, that's white supremacy, of course. I mean, that just comes.
But
out.
that's kind of ingrained, even in like most, just the narrative, dude. Like academically, I'm saying.
Right,
like,
but what I'm saying is that's new. That's not that old. That's pretty new. You know what I mean? Like that was actually established in like, there's a whole school. They did this, man. They kind of redrew the map of civilization and said it's like to prove that it was white people, because they did you know, the whole like Caucasoid, Negroid, Mongoloid thing comes out of this, like, it's like a specific, I think it's German. It was like race science school. They came up with these designations, and they used that to justify a lot of the colonialism. They were like, see.
Oh, they had to, dude. They had to. The same thing with like, even in America. Because it's like, yeah, because they had to dehumanize it. Because it's like, how could you justify owning a slave?
Yeah, but before that,
walking by and having somebody else see, oh, he's owned. Or, you know, I'm saying, even if you were poor, if you were white trash, how you can see another black person right over there. Oh yeah, the rich white man owns them. Oh yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, it's divide and conquer, like you said, right? Like, you know, and the whole thing is like, dude, in the before the Renaissance, people couldn't multiply. If you needed to learn to multiply, you had to go to one university in Italy, because everybody used Roman numerals in the West, and they didn't know, there was no place value. So how could you fucking multiply? You know what I'm saying? Until the fucking Arabs came, and they're like, you guys need to start using these numbers, these other numbers. You know what I mean? So that's all bullshit. This whole white supremacy thing of like the European culture. It's all European culture gets everything from even everything, you could just trace it back to Africa anyways. You know what I'm saying? Everything, all civilization is traced back to Africa and the Middle East. So like, it's stupid. You know, that's a dumb argument, you know?
Yeah, but like, I was like, you know, if you really think about like consciousness, like we aren't our, like the Western thought is we are our mind and our bodies.
Yeah.
Eastern thought is, no, we're an awareness. We're an awareness outside of our mind and bodies. We just use them as like tools.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends because there's a lot of different philosophies, but a
Like
lot of
generally
it
speaking,
is
a lot of like Buddhism and a
it's
lot of Hinduism.
yeah, it's
Or,
less
yeah.
it's more interdependent, you know what I'm saying? Like you couldn't exist without everything else.
Yeah.
You know, but in Western thought, it's like whatever's now is the thing that's real and it's happening. It's very like, you know what I mean? Like, and everything else is like, it doesn't matter, you know, like, so that's why everything is so, but you need both. Honestly, you know, I think that's why, you know, we couldn't have gotten to like iPhones and shit without, you know, without Western thought, but we also can't get to, I think, you know, I mean, honestly, I think the East is where everybody learned how to live in giant groups. You know, that's probably how they learned how to do that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, they have
you
it
know,
down to science. I mean, it's billions.
you know, so I think everybody, all humanity has been struggling with a lot of the same shit, and everybody has a lot to learn from each other. And it's the unity that scares the fuck out of the people who hold all the wealth, right? The tiny amount of people hold all the wealth.
How many people? What do you think is really profiting off of all this stuff of people
Exactly.
not getting back to work?
Right.
Because COVID or whatever. The billionaires are making so much more money. Like I was just realizing something. Like I'm not just, but it was crazy during COVID and everything. How like in businesses, this is what I was thinking. In businesses, they have what is it? They have like let's say my bad. That's my cell phone. They have let's say Walmart. You go to Walmart or a Walgreens. You can go in there. You can get. They don't just have the necessities open. They don't just have the pharmacy and the food section open. They have everything open. That you can buy. Meanwhile, small businesses that just buy those stuff, they're not open.
Of course. Yeah. Why are the corporate? Why is it safe for all the corporations but not safe for the small businesses? Right? Like, isn't that interesting? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And with the stimulus package or whatever that they passed.
Oh, that was so wrong, dude. That was wrong.
All that money went to the thousand. It went to the 1,000 richest people. Yeah, 1,000 richest.
Never works. Especially with that as well. Trickle down doesn't work.
Well, it's always a grift. Basically, it's all it is. Is what it is an opportunity to jack move.
They claimed poverty though. Harvard claimed poverty. Remember when Trump called them out? They're like, "Yo, what are you doing? You're at billions of dollars in endowments. Why are you claiming that you need Why'd you take 60 million?"
It's a big cash grab. Yeah, because it's a big cash grab. Everybody's in on it. They don't care about. That's why it's like, why didn't you just unload all that money on the people, right? Why, and give corporations 1,200? Well, why you could have done that? But I mean, it just shows you who they favor, right? And they is all of them. That's the whole thing. Is like it's even the division between like the Democrats and it's like that Bill Hicks joke about like, I prefer the puppet on the left, I prefer the puppet on the right, right? Like
part of the same system, man.
Yeah, same guy, same two wings of the same bird and all that shit, right? Like again.
Two wings of the same. Oh yeah, man. The birds outside. That was perfect timing.
Oh yeah, you hear the birds? Yeah. Wait, so you're in the Hollywood area, right? So you must have seen the protest yesterday and the day
South
before.
Central. Yeah, I moved.
Oh, you're in South Central? Oh, you're in South. Oh, it was pretty quiet there.
Oh yeah, yeah, it is. I live right by USC. So
oh, okay.
I live a mile away.
Oh, okay. Yeah, back in the day when I was a kid, that's where it was popping.
Yeah, no, it is. Nah, believe me, man. It's if I'm going somewhere, I make sure to do it during the day.
Oh yeah, man.
At night, I'm going right to my car, going somewhere, going back. I already have a curfew. I had a curfew before the curfew.
You locked yourself down.
Yeah, I locked myself down, man. It is what it is, man.
Are you? I remember you used to work in a nursing home and stuff. Is that so?
No, a retard center.
Oh, that's right. They're strong, so they weren't affected.
I don't just say that. No, I used to work at disabled, but they said it's retards.
It was in the name.
It's an old school name. It's an old school name.
Yeah, it's their name. That was their name. They had to change it, but no, that's because back then retard was the correct way to say it. There was no such thing as mentally handicapped. That was like the right way to say it instead of like moron, people used to say like moron.
Yeah.
Instead of calling them morons, you gotta call them retards, like because that was the correct thing. But then retard became the bad
so
thing.
moron was before retard?
Yeah. All these words, imbecile,
Yeah.
moron, these are all words that were used to classify people that became
Oh.
used as slurs that then they moved on to other words. So it's just
Oh.
going down the line. So retard was the one in our youth, and now you have to say mentally disabled or whatever. Yeah, you have to say mentally
All right,
disabled.
cool. Yeah, it's old school. My other one is old school.
But it becomes more and more general to the point where it doesn't mean anything anymore. You have no idea. Like a mentally disabled guy.
The essence is the same. It's just the words are different.
Well, I would say it's actually harder to distinguish because you could be depressed or you could have catatonic schizophrenia and you would still be classified under mental disability. You know what I mean? It's a wide range that you're just putting everybody under. Right? So everybody, it doesn't help. Not to say that like you should. Also, people are always going to make fun of different people. You know what I mean? Like people are always going to make fun of people. They're always going to be assholes. So you can't keep. You're just going to change words and they'll use other words. You know, that's just.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. But yeah, I was working there, and then but honestly, I'm happy that it closed. It closed right now because disabled people also have like a what's it called, altered immune systems.
Oh, okay.
So
Gotcha.
they're just as susceptible as old people.
Gotcha.
So if they're hanging around other people and everybody else, they're going home or back to their homes. It's like dangerous for them.
Right. And I wonder if the retarded version of the virus is way stronger too. You know what I'm saying? Like it's got that.
It's gonna have to be to take down them, bro.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta quarantine them. Good. You gotta make sure. Right?
No, their brain might not be as strong, but their heart is stronger.
Oh, dude. No, that honestly, I think their immune systems must be pretty good too. I feel like there must be. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What do I know? But
they're tough, man. They're hard.
I think they're tough. Yeah, I feel like they're tough. Strong. They're strong people, from what I hear.
Bro, retard strength, it comes from the inside.
Right. It's like a strength of spirit.
No, for real. If you know how like before, like you ever watch like a football game or any boxing match where it's like they give the person specs like 6'2", 250 pounds, they're college. It's like if you look at disabled people, right? They're like breakdown. If you're gonna like give them a breakdown, it's not that like
not impressive.
Not that impressive.
Yeah.
So physically, it's not that they're that impressive. So it has to be like, what's the X factor?
Oh well, you know what I?
Like
oh shit, that's crazy. That is actually, you know what it could be, and this is what I'm gonna
focus.
I'm gonna get it. I could get us both canceled by saying this, I think. But here we go. I'm gonna say, what if it's like Neanderthal genetics? You know what I'm saying? Like the fucking Neanderthal, because they were smaller. They were smaller, but they were like way more powerful, and they were way.
Damn, I don't know, man. But
all right, I'm sorry. You probably get fired from this job now.
Maybe, man. I don't know. I'm not a genetics person.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there because you're right. They're not. They don't have the stats. They don't have the. It doesn't make sense on paper.
I have some of it. I have some of it. I can tell you. But I don't have the whole thing.
That's where you're at disadvantage.
I have a joke. I'm a half breed. I'm like Blade.
You're like a daywalker.
Yeah, I'm Blade.
Disabled Blade.
I'm half the strength. I can't mess with the full breeds. But I got
Oh man, dude, Shaun, fucking so good talking to you, man.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for doing. I should wrap it up. But thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for your time. Do you have you want to plug your social or any shows or whatever the fuck you're anything?
Yeah. So my Instagram is my name SHAUN KEREN Shaun Keren.
Yep.
And I have a podcast, Shaun's World, and that's really me talking about my life, politics, spirituality.
So it's a personal, podcast.
Yeah, and that's a podcast. That's on SoundCloud.
Okay.
But
World
I'm waiting to get my artwork until I release more episodes. But it's in my I don't know what the link is on my SoundCloud, but it's in if you check out my Instagram, it should be on the bio. Cool. And then I'm gonna be on iTunes soon too. So
All right, cool.
I'm just waiting on that that art. You know, I'm trying to get an art for my podcast.
Gotcha. Yeah, man, just put it out. Might as well, right? I mean, there's.
Yeah, dude, I want to get you on there as well. So any listeners for here, you might catch Rojan on mine. You know.
Okay, so Shaun's World. That's what it's
Shaun's
called.
World.
Shaun's
Yeah.
World on SoundCloud. All right, Shaun, Keren, everybody, thank you so much for joining me, man.
Honestly, it's so dope, man. Hey, we gotta meet up one of these days because we haven't seen each other, bro. It's good to see that you're good, you're doing good, and safe and all that. Because I heard that around you it was tore up.
It was tore up, man. That's where the fires were. It was like right down the street, man. It was fucking wild. I mean, I was there. I was there when they started the tear gas and shit. So yeah, it was fucking.
What? There was tear gas?
Oh yeah, man. They were doing tear gas. They were doing the whole thing. That's what they use to disperse. It's flashbangs, and then if you don't move, they start tear gassing everybody.
Oh, they did flashbangs?
Oh yeah, they start with tons of flashbangs, bang, 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 to start making people move.
Bright light, right? That bright light.
No, they didn't do that because it was sunlight. It was daytime.
What's flashbang? It's like loud noise.
A flashbang is like a grenade they throw that just makes a loud bang and a flash, and it just makes you scared. It makes you disperses. You know what I mean?
I remember using that in video games.
Yeah, exactly. That's like that shit. Yeah, like,
counter-terrorism.
Fire! You clear the room. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, so they're just throwing canisters of this shit. Then they had pepper bullets, pepper balls. And, but I managed to get out of there before that because I could. Like I said, I saw the cops moving in, and I was like,
I don't like the pepper ball. I like the Korean boba.
That's way better. I highly recommend that as well. All right, Shaun, man, thank you so much again. Take care, dude.
All right, man. Same here, bro. Peace out, brother.
All right, man.